I'd like to introduce you to Ayah Bdeir, who will talk about learning through tinkering.
See, the better talk would have been if I had given you some little bits, and now you'd have made the duck move and quack and walk. So that's mental note for the next anniversary, Nicholas. I'll remember it. I want to talk to you about learning through tinkering and mostly inspiring the next generation inventors through my own personal journey. I landed at the Media Lab in 2004 from Beirut, very excited with wide eyes and bushy tails, and was ready to conquer the world. And very quickly, during my first week, I went through the most grueling, the most difficult, and the most marking experience of my life, I think till today, a class with Neil Gershenfeld. So basically, I'd done 4 years of engineering. I'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on education. I thought of myself as an inventor. And very quickly, going through Neil's class, I discovered that I essentially wasn't. And so I started to really unpack that and learning through his process. Learning through tinkering is not a new idea. Obviously, we stand on the shoulders of giants like Seymour Papert and Neil Gershenfeld and John C. Brown and Mitch Resnick, of course. But for my question was, how do you inspire a global world of inventors when not everybody has the chance to go through this rigorous process within the confines of a place like the Media Lab? And so it became sort of a very big mission for me to think about the moment that happens before you start learning through tinkering, and also the foundation on which it lands. And so in fact, I don't like to think about it as learning at all, or not use the word learning at all, because the process through which you go through that should allow you to unleash the inventor without thinking of it as learning to be an inventor. So in order to really allow this process to be accessible and universal and democratic, not everybody wants to be an inventor. Not everybody thinks that they should. And so one of the things that I started working on is, how do you create a moment that is very, very short in time and very specific and very precisely designed to be able to grab people and create that wide-eyed moment so that they're excited to embark on their journey of invention. And then the second process was the foundation on which tinkering lives, which is a platform, because we want to be able to scale this. Because it doesn't matter if we're able to allow MIT Media Lab students to become inventors or elite students around the world. It's about bringing it to the masses. It's about allowing the whole next generation, 8 billion people, to really become that. So it needs to be able to scale as a platform. So over the past few years, I've been working on a company coming out of the Media Lab called LittleBits. It's a platform of easy-to-use electronic building blocks for creating inventions large and small, and I'll show you a little video. So let's talk about the first moment, that moment where most people don't know they want to be inventors, they don't think they should be, or kids that don't even have that ability to access it. And so that's what I call the snap.
Whoa, like that, I guess.
So it's this ability to create a moment that is basically a few seconds long that just turns you from being a skeptic to being inspired. It's a moment where you see a light come on. It's a moment where you hear a magnet snap. A moment that's it's like a micro achievement where you become this wide-eyed kid that is excited, and you think of yourself, I made that happen. I wonder what else I can make happen. And that's the moment that I think is really important, to turn inspiration into imagination. And it's a moment that we are able to scale, we're able to take outside of schools and outside of R&D labs and outside of institutions that have better chances than others. Then the second piece of it is the platform, this ability to not have to have a Neil Gershenfeld in every class and not have to depend on the teacher and the tool, and instead create a system that can scale. And of course, the biggest inspiration to learn from is Lego. It's the most modular and creative toolbox for innovation in the world. And it's about thinking, how do you really combine that with the 21st century? Kids these days, a few years ago, Nicholas said, he saw at the 25th anniversary, he said 4-year-olds were going like this on physical photographs. Well, those kids are now 9, and they don't expect the easy bake oven version of education. They want things that move and blink and react and respond and are connected to the internet. And so it's about trying to create building blocks that are emulating the world, the modern world that are around us, through these really responsive technologies. And so what you end up with is a platform where you're able to enable creation and remixing. So you get this kind of wide-eyed moment where 2 kids are creating a bubble maker for the first time. And in fact, the dad of that little kid is in the audience today. And they start to learn from each other and are able to remix each other's inventions and create a bubble bot that is responsive to I actually don't know what she's saying, but I do know that she decided that she did not want to have to do the work to create a bubble through blowing on a flute or through creating light or through creating motion, and she decided that a machine should do that and created that. And so it's these experiences that become remixable and exciting that you can really learn from without saying learning. Another example here is, this is how I learned programming. I learned discrete math and logic. I learned it through text and through bullets and through words. And instead, we've had an educator create this marble sorter machine to teach logic in their class. Very complex logic underpinning that tries to decide where the marble should go and is counting, and it's an excuse to be able to create these learning opportunities for kids to understand logic without having to look at just truth tables and really sort of boring processes. And so the idea is to create this moment.
Music moment. Here we're featuring a little bit kids, and I'm gonna play some tunes for y'all. You gotta get a little closer so you can hear it. Greatness, be ready to learn.
This last sentence is what we live for, is not saying that it's about learning and not didactically imposing it, but just creating an opportunity through combining tools like Lego and Little Bits and tools like Scratch and Minecraft, and really creating these opportunities to recreate this invention process for kids around the world and be able to allow them to get excited about learning without them having to say so. So a few years out of the Media Lab now, after this first snap, there are hundreds of thousands of inventors around the world. We're in over 3,000 schools, all the way from science and math, but through arts and crafts and design thinking, really cross-curriculum, and really thinking about all age groups, K through 12 and even university, because there's absolutely no reason invention should be age-specific. There's no reason it should be gender-specific, and there's no reason it should be something that is elitist. And so thank you very much for coming here. It's a big honor to be able to speak on this panel and with this audience. Thank you.